Oh, only when I talked to you and let the clerks, when we did the clerks.
That's
sign.
right, I forgot.
Good evening, everyone. It's now 6:50, and I call to order the regular meeting of the Victoria City Council. Welcome to those of you in council chambers. Welcome to all of you who are watching us online tonight. It's our tradition to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, so we invite you to stand and join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So for those of you who are just tuning in, we apologize for the late start to our city council meeting. Our workshop ran a little bit long. So the first item on our agenda tonight is announcements. And before we move to the agenda, with the permission of my council colleagues, I'd like to take a few moments to read a statement on behalf of the city and the council. Is that okay with everyone? Yes. Great. This past week has been a difficult one for our community. We recognize that a number of you are here this evening to address council on the Level 3 predatory offender that moved to Victoria this past week. Please know that last Monday, all of council was either in attendance or watched the community notification meeting via Facebook Live. We listened to your questions, we heard and we share your concerns. Over the past week, we have spoken in person and over the phone with many of you. We have read every email that has come across our desks. We know that many of you have been working tirelessly to find a different solution. Friends, neighbors like you, we received very limited notice this individual was moving into our community. The city did not participate in the decision to place this individual in this residence. Just like you, we are frustrated. We've learned through this situation that our state law does not protect our community in the way that we believe it should. As public officials, we seek this office in part because many of us are fixers. And while we don't like this, it is not something the city can fix. Our commitment to you is to help facilitate meetings with our legislative delegation so the state law can change in the way you believe it should. We understand that many of you have been in contact with Senator Coleman and Representatives Bowe and Nash. On behalf of the City Council, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to our legislators for their willingness to listen to your concerns and support our community. Additionally, this evening, I'll be seeking council support to add an emergency item to this evening's agenda that would direct staff to schedule a special meeting of the council and call for a public hearing to be held on Monday, July 19th at 5 p.m. This meeting would be intended solely for discussing the city's predatory offender residency restrictions ordinance that was enacted in 2017. At this meeting, residents will be able to provide input and feedback on the ordinance. Momentarily, we will move to our open forum portion of our agenda, which is an opportunity for our residents to address council. While we are not required by law to hold an open forum, council sets aside time during each of our regular council meetings to hear from our residents. Please note that the council will not discuss or make any decisions during open forum. This is because any items being considered for action by the City Council must be properly and legally noticed to the public. By calling for a special meeting on July 19th, we'll be able to meet all of our noticing requirements and hold an official public hearing where action and direction can be taken. Because we cannot take any action on this item tonight, we respectfully ask that any individuals wishing to speak during the open forum limit their comments to 2 minutes. We also encourage you to assign a spokesperson who can summarize your comments if that's possible. Everyone will have another opportunity to provide their feedback during the July 19th special meeting specifically dedicated to this topic. As your council, we are all members of this community. The 5 of us up here this evening are all parents, and we share your frustration and we share your concerns. We are committed to working alongside you, engaging our legislators to help change our state law in a way that will protect our community and all the communities throughout Minnesota in the way we believe it should. We will now go to open forum. Again, this is an opportunity for anyone to address the council on an item that is not on the agenda and is not an application form that will be coming to the council at a future date. As I noted earlier, the City Council sets aside time during each regular council meeting for open forum. Council will listen but not discuss or take action this evening. We respectfully ask anyone addressing council during this open forum this evening to limit their remarks to 2 minutes, and to the extent possible, assign a spokesperson. And with that, I will ask our city clerk, Ms. Patno, to set the timer. And when you hear the ringtone, please wrap up your thoughts and remarks so the next speaker can approach the podium. Before I begin recognizing speakers, is there anyone in the audience this evening who would like to address the council on a topic that is not on the agenda or an application form with the city and is not related to the predatory offender? Okay. Seeing none, we understand a number of you are here to talk about that. We have one individual who is registered. Oh, we don't have anybody registered in advance. I apologize for that. So with that, I would like to call our first speaker to the podium. Please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, please, and proceed with your comments.
Who?
Anyone who would like to address the council? Doesn't look like anyone wants to talk. We're here to listen tonight, it looks like. Okay. Very good. I'm going to ask one more time if there's anyone who would like to address the council this evening. Seeing no one, we will now move on with our agenda. Our next order of business is to adopt our final agenda. Council, I would like to make a motion that we add an emergency item to our agenda this evening, directing staff to schedule a special meeting of the City Council and call for a public hearing to be held Monday, July 19th at 5 p.m. to review Ordinance 414, the Predatory Offender Residency Restrictions Ordinance that was enacted in 2017. Is there a second?
Second.
Council, before we vote on this motion to add this emergency item to our agenda, we'll have an opportunity to discuss once it's on the agenda. There is a motion and a second. Is everyone in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Now, to adopt our final agenda, Council, we just added an emergency item, and I'd like to make a motion to adopt our final agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Council, we just added the emergency item, and I'd like to now make a motion to direct staff to schedule a special meeting and call for the public hearing to be held Monday, July 19th at 5 p.m. to review proposed changes based on community input to Ordinance 414, the Predatory Offender Residency Restrictions Ordinance that was enacted in 2017. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Council, is there any discussion?
Madam Mayor, I would like to just speak up for a second. I have a long-standing vacation that was planned for that date, but it's important that we do this right away. So although I will not be here on that date, I will make sure I watch each and every one of the comments via video. So I will not be here, but I will be watching.
Thank you, Councilmember Roberts.
Here in spirit.
We will have a quorum of the council present, so we will carry on with that meeting. And Councilmember Roberts will review the tape. Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Council, if there's no further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are routine, administrative, and don't require deliberation, or are housekeeping items that are required by law. Consent agenda items are approved with one vote unless someone requests an item to be considered separately. Ms. Hardy, does staff have anything to pull from the consent agenda?
None from staff, Madam Mayor.
Council, any items that the council would like to pull from the consent agenda? Seeing none, any member of the audience that would like an item pulled from the consent agenda? Since there are no items to be removed, council, may I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
Make a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. We're now moving on to our regular agenda. The first item on the agenda is item 6.1, a public hearing for a temporary noise permit for 2155 Gallery Court. Presenting on that item this evening is our Community and Economic Development Director, Mr. Marty Dahl. Mr. Dahl, take it away.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Yes, we did receive an application for a temporary noise permit for 2155 Gallery Court. So just as a refresher for the council, Municipal Code Chapter 1226 is what governs this temporary noise permit process. It indicates that any noise exceeding the city's typical noise standards requires a temporary noise permit to be allowed. That permit may be granted by the city council after the city has notified all residences within 350 feet of the subject property and a public hearing is held. And staff has provided that notification as is required by code. And after the presentation, council will be asked to hold a public hearing on the item. So the permit request is for 2155 Gallery Court. The applicant is requesting the ability to play outdoor music. I believe they will be having a DJ for a 50th wedding anniversary from 4 to 11 p.m. on Saturday, July 10th. The code spells out the criteria for issuing a temporary noise permit by the council, which indicates that it can be provided for any of the following items: that the activity is operation or noise is temporary in duration. The cost of abating that noise would be unreasonably high. The measures necessary to abate or avoid that potential noise would cause additional issues. There are no other reasonable alternatives available to the applicant, and that the anticipated noise is considered to be of public interest, value, or entertainment. So staff's evaluation, we believe that the issuance of this permit will have minimal adverse impact, and absent any valid concerns being presented during the public hearing, recommend that the council approve the temporary noise permit. And with that, Mayor, I will turn it back to you for the public hearing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dahl. This is a public hearing, so now I will open the public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on this item? Is there anyone who wishes to speak on this item? Last chance. Anyone wishing to speak on this item? Seeing no one, I will now close the public hearing. Council, any further discussion on this item?
I do have a question.
Councilmember Hebert.
If there's, they have the wedding anniversary party and there's loud music and neighbors call, are we saying that the neighbors, because they have a noise, they have a permit, they're not allowed to call the cops? Or if it gets loud, if they say something happens and they say, oh, I have a permit,
Mr. Dahl?
what is that?
Yeah, Councilmember Hebert, Mayor, members of the council, the permit would allow them to have noise levels that exceed what the city's acceptable noise levels would be, and those do go down at 10 o'clock at night slightly. There's a measurement within the code that says what those decibel levels can be. So the permit would allow them to exceed that decibel level. That being said, I think there is an issue of reasonability. There would be nothing that would preclude a neighbor or someone calling to complain, but the permit would allow them, some ability to be above that noise level.
Great.
Did they check with their neighbors?
The neighbors were all notified and invited to this public hearing, and we did not receive any written comment.
So they must be fine with it.
Councilmember Roberts?
Just for clarification, in the part of the agenda, it says between 4 and 11, but then in the agenda report, it says 4 and 10. Is it?
I caught that after it was published. It is 4 to 11.
4 to 11. All right. Any other comments from council?
Congratulations.
Yeah.
No
Great.
further discussion. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Temporary noise permit.
Thank you. Motion to approve temporary noise permit.
May I have a
Or-
second?
Second.
We need to add the address.
All in favor?
We need to add
Aye.
the address.
We're good.
Oh, we're good.
Yeah.
My bad. Aye.
All right, where are we?
All good.
We got a motion
Aye.
and a second. All in
Aye.
favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you so much. And to Councilmember Gunderson's point, on behalf of the council here, happy anniversary. Enjoy your party.
Yes.
Our next item is item 6.2, a request from Mr. Wallace, owner School of the Wise, to refund the 2020-2021 liquor license fee. Presenting this evening, City Clerk Cindy Patnode. Ms. Patnode.
Okay, Mayor and council members, Brandon is in the audience today, so if you have any questions, you can ask him. But this was for the permit was reduced last year, and there were installments that could be paid, and he paid both of those installments. He had a fire in December that pretty much shut down. He thought he would be able to be open, well, I guess he paid him before the fire, so.
No, it's November.
November,
November 14th.
okay, sorry about that. I got it here, but, so he's looking for discussion to see if he can get reimbursed for that, or refunded for that portion. And if you want him to stand up at the podium, you can ask him, so. So the staff recommendation is to discuss whether the refund of $332, which represents the portion of the liquor license that was for the second half of the year due to the fire that was experienced at the venue and the inability to use his license, is what is being requested.
I totally agree.
Very good, okay. Let's go through some protocol here.
Okay.
Councilmember Black, do you have something you'd like to discuss? Council discussion. Councilmember Black.
With everything that went on last year where people weren't able to work and then he had the fire, I know we did half and we did set it up so that they didn't have to pay this year for next year. He wasn't even able to have his business open, so I think we should refund the money.
Other council discussion?
It wasn't paid for something he didn't use.
Right,
Councilmember Black, would you like to make a motion?
yes.
Actually, one moment before you make a motion. Mr. Wallace, would you care to address the council at all? Are you okay where you're at? Very good. Councilmember
He's
Black.
being shy.
I know.
I know, it's like, what?
Councilmember Black.
I make a motion to, where's the motion?
To refund
To refund the 2021 liquor license fee
portion of $1,332.
for $1,332.
Thank you. Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any other further discussion? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Wallace. We look forward to opening the School of the Wise. Can you give us a little indication when that might be, when you might crack your doors open?
August at this point in time, we're being held up a little bit by some licensing stuff as far as contractors, but I think you guys will all be very, very excited with what we're about to do, so.
We look forward to
are.
it. We look forward to it.
I drive by, I keep hoping I.
I do too, and
I know, I'm like, what? I was going to send you a message.
All right. Thank you. Okay,
Okay.
moving on. Item 6.3 is our mid-year work plan review and update on the work of our Planning Commission. Presenting this evening is Planning Commissioner Chair John Iverson. Kicking off this evening is Community and Economic Development Director Mr. Dahl. Mr. Dahl, the floor is yours once again. And then Mr. Iverson, why don't you go ahead and approach the podium and we'll get to you shortly.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Yes, the Planning Commission has been hard at work for the first half of 2021. And as you noted, our chairperson, John Iverson, is here to present a report as to the work that we've accomplished thus far and the things we're still working on.
Perfect, thank you. Welcome, Mr. Iverson.
Very good. Thank you very much. Mayor, City Council members, I will read from a partial prepared text. But John Iverson, address is 1032 Anthony Way here in Victoria. And very proud to be able to lead the Planning Commission. And I thank the mayor and city council for their support on this. We have a very knowledgeable and capable group that comes prepared and reads their packet. And I'm always impressed with their questions and concerns. Knowledge and experience are very key factors, I believe, for the Planning Commission. We are very, very fortunate to have Director Marty Dole to work with. Marty always makes us look like we know what we're doing. And we are very, very appreciative. Thank you, Marty. We have technician Isaac Peterson, who has been a real asset. We've worked on the tree project and a whole bunch of other very, very detailed items. and he does an excellent job, very well versed on it. We have a past leader of the Planning Commission, a gentleman by the name of Scott Stensland. And Scott was an extremely knowledgeable leader, and he was a gentleman that I had recommended that he re-up for another 3-year term. He elected not to because of business commitments at the same time. But Scott is one of those people that is probably not unlike a whole bunch of other people that I've been able to meet and be involved with in the city of Victoria. And these are resources that I think that mayor, city council could utilize for a variety of subcommittees, planning groups, whatever it may be. But there's some real talent, real skill and ability that should be utilized. I also want to acknowledge our city manager, Dana Hardy, who has assembled and maintained this competent city staff. And it's been a real pleasure to work with everyone. And it's made, I think, everyone's, probably as city council members, it's certainly made your work a lot easier. So with that, thank you again, Dana. And now we'll go on to the year-to-date Planning Commission accomplishments. So in January 5, 2021, we adopted the 2021 Planning Commission work plan and meeting calendar. On January 19th, we held a public hearing and considered a variance for Waterbrooke Fellowship requesting encroachment into the 100-foot ordinary high water line, which was denied. The recommendation was a denial. On February 2nd meeting, 2021, we continued discussion on revisions of the tree preservation and replacement ordinance, which again is a very important ordinance at the same time. February 16th, we held a public hearing and considered updates to the City of Victoria zoning map, and we did recommend approval on that. March 2nd, 2021, we reviewed the sketch plan for Madelyn Trail, and then continued discussion on revisions to the tree preservation and replacement ordinance. On March 16th, we reviewed the sketch plan for shores of Marsh Lake and held a public hearing and considered a conditional use permit amendment for Humanity Alliance, which was approved. April 6th, we elected myself, John Iverson chair, and vice chair is Christian Pedersen. We held a public hearing and considered preliminary plat, annexation, and zoning for Rolling Hills, which is a pretty large development, and we did recommend approval on that. April 20th, 2022, we held another public hearing and considered vacation of park designation and minor subdivision of city-owned lots, or lot rather, and parkland to create a buildable residential lot. And we did recommend approval on that. And then again, we reviewed the sketch plan for Rolling Hills South. On May 4th, we held a public hearing and considered preliminary plat, comprehensive plan amendment and rezoning for Madelyn Trail, and recommended approval on that also. Continued discussion on revisions to the tree preservation and replacement ordinance. On June 1st, we held another public hearing and considered amendments to Victoria Municipal Code, Chapter 107, subdivisions. Everyone's familiar with that? Good, because, and we did recommend approval. We did continue discussion on the revisions for the tree preservation and replacement ordinance with the support of Isaac. On June 15th, 2021, we considered final plat for Rolling Hills First Edition and did recommend approval. And we did a review of the mid-year report for City Council. And the things that we have coming up, a very busy schedule, as I'm sure everyone knows, but there will, in July of 2021, there will be a public hearing and consider amendments to the tree preservation and replacement ordinance. And then another public hearing and consider preliminary plat, annexation, and zoning for Rolling Hills South. And then at that point, we'll have a final plat for Madelyn Trail. Coming up in August, there will be another public hearing and consider preliminary plat, annexation, and zoning for shores of Marsh Lake. And then September of 2021, we'll begin residential zoning districts, PUD ordinance review and discussion. Big topic. Continue downtown parking discussion. Big topic. Other items that are coming up, Rolling Hills South, final plat, shores of Marsh Lake, final plat, review design criteria, and place making standards for Central Business District and Downtown West. And I think that'll be an interesting project for the Planning Commission. And we'll conduct a follow-up and provide recommendations to City Council on Victoria Works area as a developer moves closer. So we'll get some commercial revenue, hopefully, in that area. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Iverson. You guys have been busy.
We have been busy, and again, if it wasn't for Marty, I got to tell you, I mean,
pretty wonderful.
When I say that he makes us look like we know what we're doing, well, he makes us look like we know what we're doing.
Well, on behalf of this council, I can tell you, we are very appreciative of the heavy lifting you guys do at the Planning Commission. It helps make that job so much easier for us when it comes to the City Council. So we appreciate your time and talent that you and your commissioners give to the City of Victoria. With that, council, any comments or discussion for Mr. Iverson and Mr. Dahl?
No, I just wanted to say thank you again, and ditto what she said. You're doing an excellent job. Thank you.
Well, we're blessed with a great team.
Yes.
Quite frankly, in every respect. Dana with the city, and of course Marty yet again. You know. So,
Yeah, he knows his stuff.
Yeah, makes
Blown away
it
here.
easy.
It's like, is your head getting this big?
Mr. Dahl, do you need anything for us, or is this just for
This
information?
is for informational purposes only.
Well, terrific. Again, thank you, and extend our gratitude to your commission as well. Mr. Iverson, we really
Very good.
appreciate it.
Will do.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Next thing, last on the regular agenda this evening, item 6.4, the mid-year work plan and update of our Park and Rec Committee. Ms. Monkey, you're going to start us off.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. This evening, our Chair, Larry Schultz, is with us this evening to provide an update to you, mid-year update. I would also like to acknowledge we have several people from the Parks and Recreation Committee in attendance tonight. Judy Iverson, Mary Larson, and Jeanette June have decided all to come. They must have followed us from the opening tonight. So with that, I would like to introduce Larry Schultz.
Mr. Schultz, please approach the podium and give us an update from the Park and Rec Committee.
Okay, Larry Schultz, Chair of Park and Rec Committee. Thanks for the opportunity to address you this evening. Our work's been focused in on 3 key areas this first half of the year, those being trails, the Wassermann Lake Preserve Project and Parks, and then also on the CIP plan. So first with the trails, we spent extensive time working and getting updates on the trail project, the main one, as we've talked about in the past, and that's Bavaria East. And we've worked on that. We're trying to bring that to conclusion, since that's the top priority we always hear from our community is the trail connections, and we've identified that. We hope we can get that done this year and take advantage of the opportunity to connect some trails. We've also, regarding trails, have heard an update and from the Southwest Regional Trail, also the Arboretum Transportation Plan and the underpass under Highway 5 going into Madelyn Creek Park. We've coordinated all those, again, with our recommendation for the Bavaria East Trail. We also have been looking at the trails within the developments that are coming forward. And John had mentioned earlier, you know, the review of the Planning Committee. The Park and Rec Committee also sees those plans and makes recommendations on where trails should go. And we've found that if we can address those trail connections when the development happens, before it happens, it creates less problems later, as we're finding out as we're trying to connect these trails now. Next, we've spent some time wrapping up the Wassermann Lake Preserve, and thank you for being at the ribbon cutting today and seeing the results of the efforts of the committee, of yourselves, of the Watershed District, and many others to make that a reality. And I think that's going to be something that's going to be used by our community and appreciated. So thank you for your support and leadership and all that. Also with the parks, when these developments come forward, we review the parkland dedication or contribution and make recommendations from that. And I know you've seen those, and I think the Planning Commission sees those as well. Thirdly, wanted to address the CIP. We spent our last probably 4 meetings going through a process of identifying what our needs are for the future. And again, the future belongs to those who plan for it. So I appreciate the council's interest in that and the staff's interest in looking forward to the City of Lakes and Parks. How can we best approach that? So basically what we've done is we've taken a look at projects that we've identified before, kind of had a brainstorming session, added some additional items to take a look at, came up with 33 different projects. We reviewed those in depth and helped us identify what those were, what was involved with them. And then each of the members of the committee went through a process of ranking actually those items based on the number of criteria, including such things as how does it meet the vision of the city, how does it match the goals of the city. We looked at the demand for that particular item. We looked at it as a replacement item. We looked at it as a regulatory concern or safety concern. We also looked at inclusivity. For example, as we look at different parks, do we have things that for people with disabilities that they can participate in? We looked at, are there some items that, amenities we don't have in our community for those who may be different than we've been before in some aspect, and looked at rating those items on that so we don't overlook something and shut out people in our community that might have other interests than we do. We took those items, each individually rated those, and then put those together and had a robust discussion as far as where they came out from the final results and tabulated them, our collective results. And we had a discussion, rank things from Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3. Tier 1 being those items that we felt were most important to address in our 5 and 10-year plans. From that list, we kind of adjusted a few things, moved some. We had the rating, but then we want to have some more discussion on the softer side of things, and took a look at that, moved some things up in the Tier 1. And what you see up here on the screen are items that we identified as the top 9 issues to be addressed. The outdoor pickleball courts was something that hasn't been in our plan before, but we've had community input and interest in that at a number of our meetings. And so that surfaced to the top. Some of the other items there are keeping up with the new parks and the developments that are happening in our city. Some of them are replacement items like the Lions tennis court, and that actually is in our work plan for this year for 2021. The Bayfront Park and Plaza improvement is finishing up our beautiful area just outside here, is making that handicapped accessible, the whole area, and kind of finishing that off. We're always looking for who we can partner with on projects to help reduce the city's costs of that, whether it's donations or grants, et cetera. The tennis courts, there's a joint project with Holy Family, tennis courts that we share. Some of the other replacement areas. One thing I really want to call attention to is item 9, land for future community park. And it seems strange to be talking about that when we just had a ribbon cutting a few hours ago on our latest park. But we feel it's important to look ahead as our city continues to grow, and as we grow south and west. Is there an opportunity for additional water access, or a park that actually has some more access to water, which was another area of interest of people in our community. And we felt it's not too soon to start thinking about acquiring land, while there still is some available, perhaps creating opportunities maybe for owners of that land to consider making a donation to help reduce their tax liability if they're selling land at a profit. Consider those things now while we have the opportunity. So those are the things that we're presenting. Rest of the year, we're going to be focusing on the pickleball courts, looking at where are appropriate sites, are there different entities we could partner with, what's all involved in that. We've talked about visiting other sites, other communities that have this amenity, and looking at particular sites. We have the Swiss Mountain tot lot replacement. We'll be looking at that. We do that each year, look at a different park to keep current. Continue our work on Bavaria Trail, get some programming, oversee the actual opening of Wassermann Lake Preserve, implement the new software that we reviewed and recommended this year for the recreation center. We also have locker room facilities that are going to be updated this year. We're going to be looking at that for the balance of this year. One of the other things I should mention, that we did a study on the short and long range cost of our parks, the maintenance of our parks. And that's something that we don't want to lose sight of, because it doesn't make much sense to make a big investment in our parks and in our recreation center if we're not going to maintain it. And so we took a look at that, and we'll be talking about that further, but we think it's important to recognize that there's cost involved, ongoing operating costs, to protect our investment. So I'd also like to thank the members of the committee, in addition to the ones that were already introduced, Brian Vincent and Claudio Grappetti, and Don Wittenberg, our other members of our committee, and Ann has done a wonderful job of keeping us posted, getting us information. Committee's been excellent in their attendance, in their comments, in their discussion that makes it easy to proceed forward with recommendations when we get a variety of views and can have discussion on particular items. I'd also like to publicly thank John Carlson, who was the chair of the committee previous to myself, who went off the committee as of March 31st. So with that, I'll be glad to try to answer any questions you might have.
Terrific. Well, again, we thank you and all the work that your committee has done. And to your point about we cut the ribbon on that beautiful Lake Wassermann Preserve, oh my goodness. It is spectacular. So if you haven't been out to see it, get out there. We're so excited to see what kind of programming is going to follow for that. So it'll be exciting it's a great new asset to our community. So with that, again, thank you for your heavy lifting on and making it really easy on us. We know these decisions and recommendations are clearly vetted by the time they come to us. So that makes our job really easy. With that, council, any further comments or discussion?
I just have a couple.
Yeah,
Just
Councilmember Gunderson.
wanted to plant a couple of seeds because you mentioned a few things with disabilities and pickleball and all that. Would love to see a discussion around barrier-free parks or amenities at a park, how barrier-free might be able to play a role in that. If you know what barrier-free is, it's for people with disabilities that can access playground equipment just like everybody else. Mm-hmm. And I would urge you, if you have a chance, go out to Mitchell Park in Eden Prairie. Has a great barrier-free park. So if you can add that to discussions as you plan amenities at our parks, that would be something I'd love to see. Mm-hmm. And then I'm just happy to see pickleball is coming in, becoming a top priority, because I think it attracts a certain demographic that we're trying to plan for as Victoria grows and gets older, to keep that population here. So adding that is something that excites me, because it gives us other opportunities beyond the court itself, but also housing and other amenities for our aging population. So good job on that.
Great. Yes. Council, any other comments?
And I just want to thank you for making the maintenance costs of the parks a priority, so that we know that we're keeping up with the parks and keeping them beautiful. We can make as many parks as we want, as you said, but being able to keep them up and maintain them is very important. So thank you.
Anything else? Ms. Monkey, you need nothing from us. It's just an informational item for the council.
Correct, thank you.
Well, thank you to you, and thank you again to the Park and Rec Committee, Mr. Schultz.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, now we're moving on to reports and emerging issues. Attorney Vos, any reports from you?
Mayor and Council, just to report to you what I think you all know, to confirm what you already know, which is that with respect to the level 3 predatory offender issue, as you are aware, to make the public aware, I mean, I've been very well engaged by your staff about those issues, and have certainly been on top of those issues, and have communicated both to you and to the staff about that. So just to confirm that all of the relevant resources for the city are certainly engaged in that. And other than that, nothing to report, Mayor. Thank you.
Terrific. Thank you so much for that. Ms. Hardy, anything from staff?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Just two quick updates for you. Our farmers market, as you all know, was a success last year, so we are bringing it back, and it kicks off this week, July 1st. It's a Thursday. That farmers market is being brought to our community as a partnership through the city, Inky Brewing, and Southwest Chamber of Commerce. And so we're delighted to be able to offer that again this season. And so it will kick off this week, Thursdays from 3 to 6 p.m. in the parking lot of Inky Brewing, and it will go each Thursday afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. through the end of September. So we're very excited. We have even more vendors this year. Our feedback was bring more produce vendors. We've brought more produce vendors. So we're very excited about the offerings this year. Also, just want to note that Night to Unite, formerly known as National Night Out, will be taking place this year on the evening of Tuesday, August 3rd. This annual event helps our neighbors get to know each other. It helps build those partnerships, not only between the neighbors, the city, and the public safety folks, but really helps build community. So we encourage all of our neighborhoods to participate in the Night to Unite by having a block party. And we encourage all of those neighborhoods to register with us. So those parties that register, we can guarantee that you will have a visit by a fire truck or a police vehicle for the first 20 who register, and then after that, it's just as time allows. So we encourage people to register with us early. They can do that online. They can contact our communications person, me, our city clerk. The fire department, just call City Hall and we'll get you pointed in the right direction. And we'll also have a sign up online if it's not posted already. So thank you.
Terrific. Thank you, Ms. Hardy. Council, any reports from council?
I just have a.
Councilmember Genders.
Been a tough week and we've all talked about it, but I want to add a kind of little bit of a bright spot. Chan Baseball, which includes Victoria, are sending a lot of teams to the state tournament, and particularly their nine U teams. They're sending 44 boys to the state tournament, the first time they've ever sent 4 teams. So, and my son Samuel is on one of those teams. So I just had to take a minute to say I'm really proud of those boys, and it's exciting. So way to go.
Wish them luck. Yes. We wish them luck. Maybe next week you'll be able to report that.
Well, it'll be the 14th through the 16th
All right.
in Rosemont.
All right.
And I have I have one
Councilmember
too.
Black.
Tomorrow there's going to be a band present at the Charleston Thune Band Shell from 3 to 3:45, and it is our own residents. The Mulville Hills kids, Jay, Asher, and Kate, will be playing, and their theme will be movie music themes. So if everybody wants to stop by and say hi and give them their support.
Terrific. Thanks for that. Anything else from council? I have just a couple of items to note tonight. Our next budget workshop will be Monday, July 26th at 5 p.m. in the council chambers here at City Hall. We'll be discussing fees and charges. We'll also hear from our department heads on budget pressures, cost savings, and operational efficiencies. We expect to fill the council chambers with that fascinating conversation. But however, you are invited to comment on our budget by contacting our finance director or submitting comments online. We do see all the comments that come in online, and we treat those just like you are in person in the council chambers. So do know that if you have things to add and want the council to know, you can do that online as well. We encourage anyone who wants to attend our council meetings or workshops to contact our city clerk, Ms. Patnode, in advance so we can ensure physical distancing can be maintained. And then on behalf of the City Council, I'd like to thank all of our residents and their businesses for their patience and compliance during our outdoor watering ban. While the ban is now lifted, we want to remind everyone about our in-season watering restrictions, odd even, and that kind of thing. As always, please follow and like us on social media or check out our website for more information on these items, all these events, and more. We are a busy little community this time of the year, and I encourage you to get out and about and enjoy the season and enjoy those amenities. Members of the council, there are no more items to come before the body this evening, so may I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Oops, who's going to fight it out?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned.